shedding our strongholds. And the reason I chose shedding our strongholds is because I had to shed my own. As you noticed, I came in with a lot less hair than some of you have probably seen me in more recent times. I personally battled with hair loss for close to 10 years. First, they started out, what? Mike? No Mike. Which one?
No Mike.
We need a consensus. No Mike? No Mike. I don't know. Well, I've been no Mike. I have a big mouth. So they told me alopecia, seborrheic dermatitis, folliculitis, everything but what it was, which was tinea, a form of ringworm that I got from my son, who got from some dirty little kid at the daycare. So, with that being said, it took me to go back to my old nurse practitioner and get the proper treatment. And then it was going good because I had like a homie the clown with Fire Marshal Bill Spriggs going on. It was peach fuzzy. It was looking like, okay, we're going to do this. And the more I did my little plaits and then put my wigs on, because y'all know I always kept a short wig. Like that was just I couldn't walk out without knowing that I used, as most of us do, look good. But more importantly, sometimes our hair is our crown and all that good stuff. So, getting the proper diagnosis, it started to grow, and then it was gone. It was like shedding, literally coming out. And I went to Bosley, that's the hair people. And so when the man did this, how what? It's not going to grow. The issue wound up being, because I had been misdiagnosed, the layers of sores and the scar tissue wouldn't allow the follicles to come through, the hair follicles to come through. So, nonetheless, I was going to keep my homie the clown, Fire Marshal Bill Spriggs, until probably I had less homie the clown and more Spriggs. So, I decided, I shaved my head, and I was just going to, because it was a painful process every time, I would wash my hair, then it would hurt, then it would be bleeding, and it was just a mess. So all that being said, I decided to shave my head and just wear my wigs. But as many of you know, wigs need something to hold on to. So I had to start then just letting it grow with my little bit of homie to play on the side so I could put my glue and then I could put my wig and then keep it moving. So all that being said, moving forward to last year. Last year, I entered 2 pageants, which was something I never thought I could do. Because I looked at pictures last night, and I was thin, y'all. And I was just like, I just had a fat state of mind, because if I was where I was then now, I'd be much happier. But what I realized when I look at some pictures and I look into my own eyes, I see the pain. I see the time with the various experiences in my life, whereas people see that outward appearance, oh, okay, you think you got it together, but you really don't. So what moved me into entering a pageant was because I always thought I was too fluffy and I had to have something this way and that way, and it was all a very sick state of mind, to the point that after falling, then being able to walk again, then having all types of, you know how it goes. The devil's busy, so my family, my son wasn't living with me no more, which anybody who know me know I love the air he breathed. But what he wasn't finna to do is keep stepping across my threshold and be disrespectful. So I had explained to him that before you could come back across the threshold, if you can't come respectful, don't come. So he had decided he wasn't gonna come back. He went to my mom's. And we're gonna leave that there. So through all of that, you had all the closer family and the people that you hold near and dear to my heart, who we weren't on the same page. You had the physical limitations, the cane, like my spinal cord injury. You put it up on an X-ray, it looks like a s'mores. I'm in actually a lot of pain today. I'm in pain daily, but I just have to, some days, you just manage it. So with that, I was able to stop all the medication and just know that I had to keep pushing. But I would be a liar if I did not stand here before you and say that I was in, a year and a half ago, I was in an extremely dark place. I was ready to be done with this world, and even despite the fact that my grandfather, who had committed suicide in our house when I was 18, I knew the impact of suicide, but where I got was, it was so overwhelming, and I felt like I can't. You know, people joke around, that's the thing that, oh, I can't. But I really had gotten to a point where I prayed all night, but the prayer wasn't, oh, Lord Jesus, why me? It was, Lord, give me a reason. And I had a plan, because with all those injuries, you know, I had more than enough medication. So what I had figured out was I could take all of that, and I had 3 days before somebody would find me. And I figured the 3 would go like this. The first day, my bestie V would give me that day to get my shit together, because that's how she would say it. The second day, I would get the calls with all the, look, don't make me come up there. So somewhere between 2 and 3, somebody would come. But nonetheless, that was the plan. Before I went to sleep, I just prayed, cried, snotted, and all of that, and I said, give me a reason. And when I woke up, God laid on my heart. He said, how many people fall backwards down 10 steps and live to tell about it? I gave you a second chance at life. Who are you to take it back? And it was from that day forward that I know that no matter how busy the devil is, to go backwards equals death for me. So, no, every day ain't peaches and roses. Some days are more, what I used to say, I was promised a rose garden, but all I got was a bushel of thorns. So, a lot of days, it still feels that way, but the difference now is I do have a supportive network. I also have the belief that it can get worse, but I can't stop. So what I did was I just started to forget day by day. I said I gotta live minute by minute, and if I can make it 1, then I'll make it 2, and then it just would gradually go. I joined the counseling ministry with the sexual abuse survivor ministry. I joined the one-on-one counseling, and it was through there that I really began to get a clear understanding of God has a purpose for you, and you cannot stop. So with that, the word that kept coming to mind for me was transition. And I had written a poem years ago, and it was titled Transition. And in it, it was like when ER was out. I think I was pregnant. And the whole poem, the original one, was like ER, cold blue, stat, we're losing her, you know, this whole little dramatic piece. And in that poem, it was like, oh man, when will she laugh that beautiful laugh? Oh, the tea broke. So anyway, that's tea. When will she smile that beautiful smile? When will she laugh again? When will she affectionately do this, do that? And then, you know, like on those drama scenes, you're like laying there and it's just taking regrets and nonsense seriously, internalizing, throwing it out, never to be held captive again. Taking regrets and nonsense seriously, internalizing, throwing it out, never to be held captive by it again. Well, somebody write it down, what does it mean? And I pop up and I say transition, I'm back. So that was the original goal. But then I had this bright idea, I'm going to join this pageant, I'm going to write a poem, and I'm going to dance. So I wrote the poem, and the poem, when here it goes. It is trapped by the trials and tribulations of emotional abuse, abandonment, and molestation. Remembering times when all I wanted was a hug. Accepting that it is what it is, and people aren't who they are perceived to be. Noticing that people wish you well, so you start doing well. Seeking God, striving within to be whole, mind, body, and spirit. Integrating an actionable plan. Trusting that my life-threatening injuries would one day be healed. Integrating every lesson learned, out with the old and with the new, from the darkness to the light. Never to be held captive by it again. And that was my transition. So in the pageant, I did a dance about as little bit as that one was, but it was coming from here, and they loved it. And I had a scarf. That was before the show started, and I just moved. I kept it going. So those who knew where I came from and where I was knew why my little praise dance was more praise than dance. So, with that being said, I won second runner-up in one pageant. I had my ribbon, and I had my flowers, and I did my walk, and I was happy. That was in August of last year. Then in October, because now I'm a pro, I'm like, I know what you do. Every time you hit that stage, you bring it. And you make sure they remember you. And it didn't so happen that I was first. So I had to bring it extra because I didn't want them to forget me by the time they got to the seventh person. So then I won. And I lost my crown. And, I had hair last year. It was all flowy. I won first place. I had my wine. She was silver, but, this was what I won. I was first place in Miss Blessed, Bold, and Beautiful. So it couldn't have been more fitting. So I said all that to say, I went from thinking I'm too fluffy to be noticed. I'm not, despite the fact that I have a master's degree, I'm not smart enough, and I'm not this. And, we could do a good job, ladies, at dressing it up, bringing it, and people will really thought it was brought. And in the inside, we are one pearl away. What they say, one pearl shy of a necklace. It's like we really, really just yet holding on. And the song that I played, I'm glad when I was out with Lynette on the other day, I love this song, never knew who sung it. And every time I get in her car, it comes on. So I'm always usually trying to record it. It's like we finally got the sense this time, find out who was by. So I listened to it this morning, and I just knew that it had to introduce what I was bringing to you today. So, shedding our strongholds. I have a few little activities that y'all eating, so it's nothing major. But what I wanted to do is the papers that are up there, you can use the Sharpies to write on. I want you to think about what are some of the things. Welcome, ladies. There's plenty of seats. You can kind of get in where you fit in. Okay. Thank you for coming. That's my mom, y'all. So, hello. But while they're getting seated, I'll just pause for a second to tell you, I have here today a Wilden. She's a Mary Kay beauty consultant, and we've done Mary Kay a lot of years. You always know somebody that knows somebody. But one of the things that had kind of pricked my spirit about Wilda and her daughter Tosh is when I first met them, they were very much into the skincare and really it wasn't about you can get all of this and you'll be great. It was more like, let's see, even though this costs a little more, this is what you should use, and instead of pumping the newest products, you know what, this is the old faithful one, try this, get your regimen down, get your skin better, get healthy, and then we could do some other things. So I had my private one-on-one session the other day, and look, anybody who know me, I don't do makeup, and I love diva eyes. So guess who did my diva eyes? Me. So I learned, to clean my face. And ladies, if you were like me, and when somebody put makeup on really, really nice, and then you still want to look really, really nice the next day, and then you go to bed, and you just don't take it off so that you can look really, really nice. And then one day it turns into like 3 days. You're like, wait a minute, still a little bit shimmery. I'm gonna wait. Don't do that because your eyes age how much?
30 times faster than your face.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my God, my eyes is like 90 because I had this one for 40 years. So when they did my face, it was a challenge when we were about to leave. Her daughter was like, here's some stuff for you to do your face. I want you to wash your face tonight. So I was like, okay. And she left out the door like, I want you to wash your face. So she left. I washed my face completely, cleaned everything off, and I took a picture. And then I took another picture in the morning, my before and my after. And now this is the second time. So I said all that to say, you know, they're definitely about more than just selling the products. They're also more than just about, you know, just the makeup aspect. And, you know, I don't know about y'all, but I like when somebody tells me, well, you know, if you get this, it'll save you. You know, because usually you go to buy things for people, it's the other way. They don't even want you to look at that stuff, they want you to look over here. So that's why I allowed Will Good to come today for my party. It's my party. So, you know, we changed some things around. But because, so if you do nothing else, I want to make sure that you, what you got to do, sign the paper. You tell them what they got to do.
Okay. I want everybody to take and put their information here because it counts for Ebony as her party. This way, she can take in, she's trying to promote herself so she can get her skincare products. So, you know, support her in that way so that she can get her products.
Okay. Because y'all all know, when a lot of our family and friends will be selling something, you go in the door talking about, all I'm buying is lipstick, I don't care what they say. What's under $19? So, I don't care if you think about. Just make sure you fill out that paper because the sister needs my daily regimen so that I can do this again. So, that's what that is. And
everybody thinks, you know, oh, well, if I sign this paper, give her all my information, she's going to hound me. If you don't want us to contact you, that's fine. Put on the paper, don't contact me.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that. My daughter doesn't have a problem with that. We're not here to push things on you. That's not our goal. Our goal here is to support everyone.
they brought me a gift, and it was really nice. I had a perfume. But anyway, all that being said, please make sure you sign up. And I think that, like, how often do you go somewhere and they say, you can write, do not call me? Like, that, come on, that's why I love it. So, that's a welcome. The lady who does my henna, her son is sick. I think she may still make it here before you all, who may be interested, want her to do henna. She was doing, whether you wanted your arm, or, well, most people probably don't want their feet done, but she was supposed to be here today as well. And what brought about the henna crowns, just to get back to my presentation, was before I could hand out one business card, I had to face my final stronghold, which was, like I explained to you, on my hair loss. So my photographer, Shadana Hemmings of Collar Lily Photography, we were going to do a photo shoot, and she said, well, what do you think about this? And she sent me a picture with the henna crowns. And I was like, oh, they're beautiful. So then I said, we both went off on a search for henna artists. So we called each other. I was like, girl, I found one. All right, you go first. The person that we were both referred to, Sherry lives in Jersey. I live here in Philly. It was the same person. So that made it even more symbolic. So that day we left after getting my henna done. I never looked at it. We left and went to the fountain, that one downtown, down the street from DHS. Went to the fountain, and she had a special surprise for me. And it was this beautiful, confidently bald woman who looked like she floated up to the fountain. She had on an evening gown, and she was there as my surprise to support me in my unveiling of my baldness. And that was just phenomenal. I think I'll be able to pull some of the pictures up, but nonetheless, that's what happened. So now I love henna. I tried on some hair, y'all. oh, I look like Nana too. So now I'm just investing in some pretty hats because I can't do it. I'm not saying I never won't put hair back on, but at this stage in time, plus to be honest, a little inside scoop, it acts as a wonderful conversation piece because usually the henna is fading, it's over a week. It's not gonna last past today, but you get the gist. If you've seen any of my pictures, you know she does a great job. She does it freehand, 20 to 30 minutes, and she's great. But with regards to keeping it down, like I get it done every 2 weeks. She only charges me $40 to do my head. So as you know, that's not bad for what some of us pay, you know, for in the bar, beauty salons and all. And it turns into an opportunity to share about my business. And then from that, I'm giving out a card. And then somebody's thinking maybe, okay, I can use you for, you know, something at a later date. But nonetheless, they met me, they had the information, and I get to plug me. So, one of the things, couple things I wanted to make sure that I said today was, in shedding our strongholds, we often have to first do some forgiving. And forgiving needs to take place whether it's forgiveness of those who have done us wrong, those who didn't do anything, or those who just weren't capable of giving or being what we needed. But more importantly, oftentimes, the forgiveness is of ourselves. Even when we weren't at fault, we still have this whole inner turmoil going on. And someone said the other day to me, you know, it's not always the enemy. Sometimes it's the inner me. So that like was one of those things that was like, ouch, you know, because remember I was the fluffy and the ball and maybe they're gonna take it. Yeah, and I would drive myself crazy. And I remember V used to always say, girl, if you don't stop pulling on your clothes, every time when you go places, you get more men in a little bit. So I'm like, yeah, she got one there. So you know, you have your friends sometimes, they play their different roles. You got the one that might use a lot of expletive leaders, and then the one, like, V is the cold, hard truth, whether you wanted to hear it, how it was going to come. V, say hi. And then Andrea, she's ordained now, so she is the one that's going to, okay, let's get some scripture, let's find out where this thing is coming from, let's get to the core of it, let's pray about it, and I'm going to check on you tomorrow. And you have Lynette. Lynette is a perfect blend of both. Lynette will, like, she did a wonderful prayer for me and Lisa because, you know, the devil was busy prior to us getting started, and I needed to be brought back and get in my zone. So we were sitting there hogging up the handicap bathroom praying. And Lynette said this awesome prayer. Usually she'd be like, no, you go. She wanted to pray from now on because that thing was right. So, you know, and then I had a few other special people that are very supportive. Miss Karen, I met her on the tip of pageantry. So she was the go-to person. And I went and I said, I want to be in pageant, but I've never been in one and I don't know what to do. And not only did she help me decide what to do, how many people let you borrow their whole closet and then you go and win a pageant in it? Like that red dress, that was from Miss Karen's closet. The other scene, when I answered my question, and the boots that went with it, from Miss Karen's closet. So not only was I wearing borrowed blessings, that speaks volumes to someone who would care enough about you to let you get up in their closet. Because I know some of y'all in here be like, look at here. Look. Now, even we work together every day, she'll be like, how much you need to get your own? You're like, you ain't borrowing too much of nothing. So, I just, you know, everybody is their own, you know, individual person. But Miss Karen has been extremely supportive, and I always try to make sure I'm able to be supportive to her in whatever she does. And sometimes our events may criss and cross, and we can't be there in spirit, in physical, but we'll be there in spirit. And then Shakasia just came through the door, like, okay, real quick. We met at Logan Square East when I was in high school. and that was a retirement home. And we were like, we was the chocolatest ones up in there, so we kind of gave our names, us names. She was Crispy C, and I was Burnt E. And our friendship developed from, recognizing sometimes in some places you got to get a hold of that one to get you through the day so you can get your money. Okay? So we've been friends a long time, and I don't think I've seen her in quite a few years, so I'm extremely thankful that she forged ahead and came out. And really gonna get in trouble if I start just going down the list thing. So I'm gonna stop only because you have other people. Some of you I've only met in the more recent years, and some of you know me a long time. But all of you have made a positive impact in allowing me to be a part of your life and to share in my journey. So I do appreciate and thank you for that. So when we talked about forgiveness, I would be lying if I say I got that thing down, because I don't. So, anybody who knows me knows I love acronyms. So, one acronym that I usually often share with people, because sometimes when you can't even utter a prayer, you can't utter, mutter, or stutter, I just remember the word faith, and it's forget about impossibilities, there's hope. Because there's often times in our lives when so much trauma and tragedy has occurred that sometimes we can't pray. Or sometimes, and that's not even imposing my faith onto anyone. Whoever you pray to or don't pray to, you recognize pain is pain. So, what I had to learn in my class, in my group about forgiveness was sometimes even when you can't see yourself being forgiving, you can just show up. Just keep showing up, whether it's at church, whether it's at just believing every morning and being thankful. Sorry, guys, I ain't eat today. Wait, that's it. Nothing but no, I done completely forgot what I was saying. Forgiveness. Sorry, forgive me. So, like I said, sometimes when you can't find it in you to forgive, but sometimes all of us, we are such a nurturing spirit, because I know when I was joined my sexual abuse survivor group, and they were like, we're going to forgive, and we kept going. I said, look at here. I held their hands. I said, I believe it for y'all. And for y'all, I'll keep showing up and be supportive. And one young lady in the class, one day, I was so upset. And I couldn't get it together because I felt like, you know how it is, you doing better and things are starting to line up and you doing this and you doing that. And then next thing you like, if you hit rock bottom and you feel like, I should be better than this, or I should be past this, or I should be further. And one of the girls in the class, I love her, she said, but wait a minute, remember when we first started, you was about to kill yourself. And now she said, you was just spiraling down, and now you spiraling up. And I was like, oh, like it was one of those. Dang, I had to say it like that, but that was real. Every day, I told them after every group, I had to call somebody because I had to process. Because oftentimes when we begin to do the work, it's more than a notion. Like you'll find that you'll start getting feelings or thoughts that you hadn't had in years. All those things that you compartmentalize and put them in your neat little boxes. It feels like, okay, I got it, I'm good. And then that very thing pops out like a jack in the box, and you're like, yeah, I can't, I dealt with this. And I used to say, I don't have time for a nervous breakdown. It don't fit into my schedule. I got to go to work. I got to pay my rent. Like me going to the hospital, getting 302, it ain't gonna work. So what I decided, and even when you can't forgive, you can choose to forge ahead. And anybody who knows me, I love acronyms. I decided that forge means figure out your regrets and gain empowerment. And then you move ahead. So that's when you feel like you can't forgive, you just forge ahead. And eventually, it'll be placed in your spirit. You will be forgiving. And I want to say something about forgiveness. Just because it happened and you made it out all right, don't mean it was okay. So sometimes we just got to call it, how do you say, name it, claim it, call it what it is, and then just decide to move on past it. And moving past it can be done in various ways. So, okay, we like to say grace. Sorry. Everybody here, I'm going to say grace even though I ain't got to look. Can't forgive, forge ahead. It's not always the enemy, sometimes it's the enemy. And sometimes another acronym is hug. Sometimes you have to grab a hold of someone and get a hug because they can help the ugliness go away.
Wow.
So that's hug. Help ugliness go away. And I'll write these down for those of you, I will write them down, and if you email me from the card, I'll make sure you get a copy of it. Because, so we had faith, forget about impossibilities, there's hope. We had hug, which helps ugliness go away. We had forge, which was figure out regrets, gain empowerment. That's cool. So, all those being said, I'm going to allow you all to eat because I do have a little small activity. It doesn't require much. And I just wanted to urge you all to be intentional about actualizing in your purposes on purpose. Because that's where I'm at. If you just can think about some of the things that may be holding you back, if you wouldn't mind, I would just like to go around, if you want to just raise your hand, and just, if you don't mind sharing, what's one of the things that you feel is a stronghold for you that you came in here with, but we want to leave it up after we discuss it. We're going to write it down, leave it up there, and you're not taking it back with you when you go out. So, I ask you, can anyone tell me, if you're bold and brave enough, to tell me what is a stronghold that you may be experiencing in your life?
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure. That one is real. Fear of failure. Anyone else? Rejection. That's what I had for my right. Fear of failure, rejection. Anyone else?
Undeserving.
Undeserving. Okay.
Your mom.
All right, thank you. All right, so Shay's going to write them down. We have fear of failure, rejection, and what did you say, ma'am?
Undeserving.
Undeserving, feeling undeserving.
Hold on.
Lack of forgiveness.
Lack of forgiveness. Fear of failure, undeserving.
Lack of
Lack
forgiveness.
of forgiveness. Anyone else? Maintaining hope. Anybody want to take one of the Sharpies on the table? So feel free to help Shay out right now. That's up to you. But or help us remember. So
Wait a minute. Fear of failure, rejection.
fear of failure, rejection, undeserving,
Undeserving.
lack of forgiveness, maintaining hope. Next. Feeling unappreciated. So that was lack of maintaining hope. Say it again, Jamie. Feeling unappreciated. Anyone else?
P.
Anyone else want to share a stronghold?
O.P.
Jump in, Cherie.
That's right. P.
So another one has been
Go ahead.
helping everybody
R.I.
when nobody helps you.
A.T.E.
What was that, Ebony?
Helping everyone and nobody helps you.
Oh yeah, that's mine.
Well, it could be helplessness, but I think it's more of non-reciprocation that Cherie may have been speaking of. Am I right? All right. No reciprocation.
And also depleted on that one. Feeling depleted.
Right.
But
Oh yeah.
breaking the cycle of poverty.
Okay.
Yes.
We still we have breaking the cycle of poverty. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay. If you have any more that you didn't want to say out loud before you leave, if you could write it on any one of those papers up there, I would have greatly appreciated it. Because only you know what you may be struggling with, going through. And so you may just want to leave it here. I don't care, you can scribble it, write it. Conviction? Conviction. So, even if anyone who didn't speak out loud about it, I would ask that whatever you came in here, if you were. Some people, when I asked you all to come here today, I said if you wanted to come to be empowered or to empower someone else. So, you know, some of us have our, you know, halos on, and I don't have no problems. That's your story, then write something up there for somebody else. So, with that being said, I have an activity. I'm just going to tell you what it is. But you can do it when you finish eating and do it before you leave. And what that is, since when I realized it started coming to a point where I was ready to be healed and wanted to be in a better space, one of the main things, the first things I realized when I was in my group, and that was, I look in the mirror every day, but I wasn't looking into my own eyes. I wasn't seeing me as beautiful. I was just not seeing what maybe other people see. So that sounded crazy to me when I first said it out loud. Like, wait, what you mean you don't look at your face? Well, you know, you go in you go in the mirror to brush your teeth.
You look beyond
You make sure you
yourself.
brush your teeth. You washing your face. You doing this. You doing all these things. But when's the last time you just stared into your own eyes, gave yourself some sort of positive affirmation, whether it's you're beautiful, cute, whatever it is? We often don't do that. So the exercise, y'all listening? Okay. The exercise that I had for you all, and I think we should have enough because I don't think we've exceeded 33 people, is this. Everyone will receive their own little mirror. It's a compact mirror with a light. So when you feel yourself in some dark times, you shed a little light on your situation, you look into your eyes, and you empower yourself to get you through to that next minute by minute. And I have some Sharpie pens on the table that you should, I would like for you to, if you write your word, whatever that word is that you're going to, you know, mine, like you said, mine might be faith. I might write phrase faith on here on my Sharpie, and then there's going to be glitter pens available for you to decorate your personalized mirror so that you can leave here with a positive reminder of you left your stronghold here, you left with your word or your phrase or your whatever it takes. If you don't, put a dot and say, okay, that dot meant I left it there. Whatever you need to do to decorate and symbolize your mirror for you, that's what I would like for you to do. So, in closing, I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. A few other things about unforgiveness that might help you like it helped me. And it was, someone told me that unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the offender to die. Or the person who hurt you to die, or the thing that hurt you to die. So we can clearly see how toxic that can be for our own inner spirits and life. Then we have trapped in the jail cell of unforgiveness is trapped in a jail cell full of bitterness, serving time for someone else's crime. So that's another thing that unforgiveness can do. And close out with, I looked up the definition of strongholds, and the one that I felt resonated best with my presentation is faulty thinking patterns based on lies and deception. So ladies, what I would like for you to do is enjoy your meals, fellowship with one another. Don't forget to write up on there whatever stronghold or lie or whatever something that you've been struggling with up on those boards so that you can leave it here today And then I'm going to put the I'm gonna hand out the mirrors to make sure you all get them. I'm gonna put glitter pens on each table, and you have the Sharpies there already. So I hope that I wasn't too long-winded, because those who don't know, I can be, but I came with a purpose, and I wanted to make sure that some of the things that have been a blessing to me, that I can bring them to you, and that God could use me to help others to help themselves.